Welcome to the channel, Coin Lovers. Today we're taking a closer look at the top 5 rare United States of America Monticello 5-cent coins that collectors are always excited to discover. These Jefferson nickels appear in different conditions and carry various mint marks, and even the smallest detail can have a major impact on their value. From scarce early dates to special wartime compositions, unique mint errors, and hard-to-find varieties, these Monticello 5-cent coins continue to stand out as true treasures in the world of numismatics. So check your own nickels carefully. You might be holding a rare and valuable piece without even realizing it. Let's get started. First up, the 1964 D Monticello 5-cent coin, also known as the Jefferson nickel, struck at the Denver Mint. This coin may appear ordinary to many collectors, but the year 1964 played an important role in U.S. coinage, making each surviving piece a historical artifact worth exploring. The 1964 D Jefferson nickel comes from a time when the United States Mint dramatically increased production due to a national coin shortage. Because of that huge mintage, the majority of these nickels were heavily used in circulation, and finding a well-preserved, very fine condition piece today still offers great educational and collectible value. On the obverse, the 1964 D nickel features the familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson designed by Felix Schlag. Even in very fine condition, the details of Jefferson's hair, cheekbone, and collar remain visible, though slightly worn from circulation. These features help collectors confirm the coin's grading level and authenticity. Moving to the reverse, the Monticello building stands proudly at the center, representing Jefferson's iconic home in Virginia. In a very fine example, the lines of the building remain clear enough to distinguish pillars and stairs, even though somewhere has softened the finer architectural elements. The Denver Mint mark, identified by the small D on the reverse to the right of Monticello, is an essential detail for collectors. In very fine condition, the mint mark is still sharp and easy to spot, helping to distinguish this piece from the more common Philadelphia strike that lacks a mint mark. One important aspect that collectors appreciate about the 1964 D nickel is its original composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This classic alloy has been part of the Jefferson nickel design since 1866, except during wartime compositions, giving each coin a distinct silver-gray color that collectors recognize instantly. The year 1964 marked the final issue bearing the early-style Jefferson portrait before the Mint made subtle design adjustments in later years. That makes this date important for those who collect transition-era coins or build complete Jefferson nickel sets from the classic period. While millions of 1964 D nickels were minted, the quality of surviving pieces greatly varies. Many coins were overused, damaged, or lost, so a very fine example like the one featured today represents a balance between affordability and decent preservation. Collectors often value these nickels not only for rarity but for historical context. The 1964 production spike was a direct result of economic pressures, vending machine demands, and rapid industrial growth, making coins from this year a snapshot of America's mid-century financial landscape. And very fine condition, this nickel shows moderate wear but still retains strong eye appeal. The key features remain readable, including the date, lettering, and most architectural elements of Monticello. These factors help collectors evaluate the coin's grade accurately. Many new collectors start their Jefferson nickel journey with coins like the 1964 D because they're affordable yet full of historical interest. They also provide excellent practice for learning how to grade, inspect mint marks, and understand strike characteristics. One detail worth noting is that 1964 D nickels exist with different die states. Some coins were struck with fresh dies and appear sharper, while others were struck later in the die's life, creating softer details. Very fine condition coins can fall into either category depending on original strike quality. Another interesting point is that some collectors specifically look for steps on Monticello, known as full steps nickels. However, due to poor striking quality in 1964, full steps examples from the Denver Mint are extremely scarce and usually appear only in higher grades such as MS or uncirculated. Even though a very fine 1964 D nickel is not considered rare, it holds value for collectors who appreciate classic U.S. coinage. Its story, mint mark, preservation level, and connection to American history make it a meaningful addition to any beginner or mid-level collection. The 1964 D nickel also played a role in stabilizing coin circulation in the United States. As the Mint pushed into overtime to meet demand, coins like this one became essential for daily transactions across the country, from public transportation to grocery purchases. Today, collectors enjoy examining these coins to observe how mid-20th century minting technologies influenced strike clarity and durability. A very fine condition piece allows you to study this history while still appreciating a clean, readable design. Because so many 1964 D nickels stayed in circulation longer than earlier dates, many examples show heavy wear. Finding one with well-preserved lettering and smooth surfaces without deep scratches adds collector value even if the coin isn't rare. The Jefferson nickel series remains popular because it combines artistic design, historical themes, and decades of American heritage. The 1964 D is one of the most iconic examples due to its massive mintage and pivotal role in U.S. coinage history. For collectors who build date and mint mark sets, the 1964 D is a mandatory piece, and a very fine example strikes a balance between affordability and quality. It allows collectors to complete their set with a visually appealing specimen. Many hobbyists enjoy hunting for these nickels in old coin jars, bankrolls, garage sale collections, and inherited coin boxes. Discovering a clean 1964 D with a solid grade can be a fun and rewarding experience. This coin also teaches the importance of proper storage. Even a durable alloy like cupronickel can suffer from tarnish, scratches, and surface damage if not stored in a dry, protected environment. A very fine coin benefits greatly from coin flips or albums. Today's featured 1964 D Monticello nickel reminds us how everyday coins can become miniature time capsules. Each one traveled through countless hands, stores, and pockets before ending up in a collector's possession. As you explore U.S. coinage, the 1964 D nickel serves as a perfect example of how to evaluate grade, preservation, and mint history. Whether you're a new collector or an experienced numismatist, this coin offers valuable lessons and solid historical significance. This concludes our deep look at the United States of America Monticello 5 cents 1964 with D mint mark in very fine condition, a coin that captures the spirit of American coinage tradition and mid-century history in a simple yet meaningful design. Next up, the United States of America Monticello 5 cents coin from 1978, a Jefferson nickel that represents the late 20th century era of American coinage. Even though it is common, this coin plays an important role in the coin series and in the history of everyday U.S. currency. In circulated condition, it carries visible signs of age and use, making it a genuine piece of American life. The 1978 Jefferson nickel was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which is why it carries no mint mark. During this period, Philadelphia continued the tradition of producing nickels without a mint letter, giving these coins a distinct identity compared to Denver or San Francisco issues. On the obverse side, we see the well-known portrait of Thomas Jefferson created by designer Felix Schlag, a design that had been used since 1938. In circulated condition, the high points of the portrait such as Jefferson's cheekbone, jawline, and hair are noticeably worn, but the overall shape remains easily recognizable. The inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date, 1978, surround Jefferson's portrait. On a circulated example, these words may appear slightly faded or softened, showing how the coin traveled through countless hands over the decades. Turning to the reverse side, Monticello, Jefferson's famous Virginia estate, is displayed in a classical architectural style. In circulated condition, many of the fine lines on the building become worn down, but the general outline of the dome, steps, and columns still remains visible. Above the building, the inscription E Pluribus Unum arcs across the top. On a heavily circulated 1978 nickel, this inscription may show flattened edges, but it usually remains readable. This wear pattern helps collectors understand the coin's journey. Below Monticello, the word Monticello appears, followed by 5 cents and United States of America. These details are often clearer on circulated nickels because they are lower on the reverse and experience slightly less friction during use. Circulated condition nickels like this one show various marks, scratches, or discoloration, which are normal signs of long-term use. Each mark reflects its history in pockets, cash drawers, vending machines, and stores throughout the late 1970s and beyond. The alloy used for the 1978 nickel is the standard 75% copper and 25% nickel composition. This gives the coin a durable surface and its familiar silvery appearance, though circulated coins often develop a duller, darker tone over time due to oxidation and handling. The Philadelphia Mint struck hundreds of millions of Jefferson nickels in 1978, making this date extremely common. Because of that, circulated examples typically do not have much monetary value, but they hold strong historical and educational value for collectors. Even though this coin is common, collectors still enjoy examining circulated pieces to understand wear patterns, die characteristics, and long-term durability of U.S. coinage. These observations help build grading skills for more advanced collecting. One of the interesting features of 1970s nickels is that many show weaker strikes compared to earlier decades. Some coins from 1978 were struck with dies that had already been heavily used, causing softer details, especially on Monticello's steps and roof. When collectors search through coin rolls or old jars, finding a 1978 no-mint mark nickel in decent circulated condition is very likely. However, locating one with strong reverse details or fewer contact marks can still feel rewarding for beginners. While circulated 1978 nickels don't carry premium value, they help collectors complete date sets in the Jefferson nickel series. Many hobbyists enjoy building full-decade collections, and the 1970s section includes several important examples of changing minting quality. This coin also tells the story of American everyday life in the late 1970s, a time of economic shifts, cultural changes, and technological development. The nickel played a major role in purchasing snacks, using payphones, and operating vending machines of the era. Because it spent decades in circulation, a 1978 nickel often shows rim wear, reduced definition, and surface smoothness. These features are typical and make the coin a true representation of real-world use rather than a collector-preserved specimen. Circulated nickels like this one also offer a great starting point for young collectors. They are easy to find, inexpensive, and perfect for practicing grading, inspection, and coin handling skills without fear of damaging a valuable piece. Although the design remained largely unchanged for decades, each circulated coin tells its own unique story. Slight differences in wear, tone, and marks create individuality even among extremely common dates like the 1978 issue. Collectors studying these coins learn to recognize how circulation affects different parts of the design. For example, Jefferson's cheek and Monticello's steps are always the first areas to wear down, serving as important indicators of a coin's grade. The 1978 nickel also reflects the technological limitations of the mint during the time. While modern coins benefit from improved strikes and sharper designs, the nickels of the 1970s often show inconsistencies that make them interesting study pieces. Even though circulated coins may not shine or sparkle like uncirculated examples, they hold charm because of their connection to everyday American history. This makes them important artifacts worth preserving and understanding. When examined closely, circulated condition coins reveal subtle color variations caused by years of handling, exposure to air, and storage in different environments. These natural tones give each coin character and depth. The 1978 Monticello 5-cent piece without a mint mark remains a simple yet meaningful coin in the long-running Jefferson nickel series. Its circulated condition captures the passage of time, showing how a small piece of metal can reflect decades of economic and cultural activity. This concludes our detailed look at the United States of America Monticello 5-cent coin from 1978 with no mint mark in circulated condition, a coin that reminds us how everyday pocket change can carry history, personality, and numismatic value simply through its long journey. Next up, the United States of America Monticello 5-cent coin from 1963 without a mint mark, a Jefferson nickel that represents the final years before major U.S. minting changes in the 1960s. Even in circulated condition, this coin holds historical value and offers collectors a glimpse into the era. The absence of a mint mark on this coin indicates that it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which did not place mint marks on nickels during this time period. This feature is helpful for collectors who rely on small details to identify a coin's origin. The obverse of the coin features the iconic portrait of Thomas Jefferson designed by Felix Schlag. In circulated condition, the portrait shows noticeable wear. The finer details around Jefferson's cheek, hair, and jawline may appear softened, yet the image remains clear and recognizable. The inscription, "In God We Trust," arcs along the left side of Jefferson's profile. Circulated wear often leads to slight fading in the lettering, though it typically remains readable on a 1963 nickel. On the right side of the obverse, the word "Liberty" and the date 1963 appear side by side. These elements may show flattening due to contact with other coins over decades of circulation but remain identifiable. The surface of the obverse generally displays multiple small contact marks, abrasions, and smooth areas, all consistent with a coin that has been used in everyday transactions. These imperfections give the coin its circulated character. Moving to the reverse, we see the famous Monticello building, an architectural masterpiece and Jefferson's historic home. On circulated examples, many of the finer lines of the building, including the steps and columns, are often worn down. E pluribus unum appears above the building. On circulated coins, the lettering may show varying degrees of fading, particularly around the edges, where friction from handling is most common. Below the building is the word Monticello, serving as the central label for the design. Because this word is raised, it experiences frequent wear in circulation, sometimes leaving the letters softened or partially faded. Further below, the denomination 5 cents and the phrase United States of America complete the reverse design. These elements remain readable even on heavily worn examples, though their edges may lose sharpness over time. The fields on both sides of the coin, particularly the open areas surrounding the designs, often display the most visible signs of wear. Scratches, smudges, and discoloration are typical for circulated coins from the 1960s. The 1963 nickel consists of the standard 75% copper and 25% nickel alloy used for decades. In circulated condition, the metal surface may show dulling, toning, or dark spots, depending on its storage conditions and age. This coin represents a time when nickels were used extensively in everyday commerce. From vending machines to grocery stores, 1963 nickels circulated widely across American society, leaving behind the marks of countless transactions. While circulated examples are common, each coin carries a unique pattern of wear that tells its own story. Collectors often appreciate these individual differences as part of the charm of coin collecting. The edges of the 1963 nickel are smooth and slightly rounded in circulated condition. The absence of major nicks or dents is a sign that the coin experienced normal wear rather than damage. Because Philadelphia minted millions of these coins, the 1963 no-mint mark nickel remains accessible, making it a perfect teaching tool for beginners learning how to grade circulated U.S. coinage. Analyzing the wear on Monticello's steps is one of the best ways to judge the coin's condition. On circulated pieces, these steps become fully flat, helping identify the coin as well-worn but still collectible. The circulated condition also helps collectors understand the durability of nickel-copper alloy coins. Despite decades of handling, the coin still preserves its essential details and structural integrity. This coin is also a part of a long-running design series that lasted from 1938 until changes in 2004. Collectors assembling complete Jefferson nickel sets often include circulated examples like this one to represent the everyday coins of the time. The 1963 nickel serves as a reminder of America's historical period leading up to major events of the 1960s, including economic changes, political shifts, and cultural transformations, all while this coin quietly circulated in people's pockets. Even though it does not carry high monetary value in circulated condition, the coin still holds historical interest and sentimental appeal, especially for collectors who enjoy classic American designs. The overall appearance of a circulated 1963 nickel reflects its age and the long journey it has taken through the hands of countless Americans, making it a small but meaningful piece of national history. For collectors who appreciate circulated conditions, the beauty lies in the imperfections. These marks reflect real use rather than being untouched pieces locked away immediately after minting. This overview of the United States of America 1963 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark highlights its design, wear patterns, and place in U.S. coin history. Even in circulated condition, it remains an important and educational piece for any collection. Next up, the United States of America Monticello 5 cents coin from 1988 with the D mint mark, a Jefferson nickel that reflects everyday circulation from the late 1980s. This coin, although in good condition, carries interesting details that show its age and journey through decades of use. The 1988 D nickel was produced at the Denver Mint, and the D mint mark appears on the obverse of the coin, making it easy to identify its origin. Denver nickels from this era were struck in large quantities, but each coin has its own wear patterns that make it unique. On the obverse, we see the familiar profile of Thomas Jefferson designed by Felix Schlag. In good condition, Jefferson's portrait shows moderate wear, especially around the forehead, cheek, and hair curls, where the highest points of the design often flatten first. As the inscription, "In God We Trust," can still be seen clearly, though some of the letters may have softened edges. This phrase remains one of the most consistent features across all U.S. coinage. To the right of the portrait, the word "Liberty" and the date 1988 appear. In good condition, these elements remain readable, though the surfaces surrounding them may show scratches, light marks, and slight flattening. The D mint mark, placed just after the date, stands out even with wear. This mint mark signals that the coin was struck in Denver, a mint known for producing a large share of Jefferson nickels during the 1980s. Across the obverse, you will often notice small nicks and abrasions caused by circulation, pocket wear, and contact with other coins. These marks are completely normal for a coin graded in good condition. Turning to the reverse, Monticello, the historic home of Thomas Jefferson, is the central feature. In good condition, most of the detailed lines on the building, including the roof, pillars, and steps, are worn down, but the overall structure remains recognizable. Above Monticello, the words "E pluribus unum" stretch across the upper portion of the coin. This motto may show fading around the edges, especially where the raised letters have worn down from years of handling. Below the building, the word Monticello appears. In good condition, this word often shows flattening, with some letters losing their sharpness due to extensive circulation. Further down, the denomination 5 cents is clearly stamped but may show signs of surface wear, soft lettering, or dullness. Even so, it remains readable on nearly all circulated examples. At the bottom, the phrase United States of America curves along the rim. While still visible, the text may have uneven surfaces caused by friction, cleaning attempts, or coin-to-coin contact. The overall surface of the reverse side generally shows faint scratches, dull areas, and minor discoloration, all of which are common in coins from the 1980s that spent years in circulation. The nickel-copper alloy used in this coin tends to darken slightly over time. In good condition, the 1988 D nickel may exhibit light gray tones, patchy brightness, or dull luster depending on how it has been stored or handled. Coins in good condition usually show complete loss of fine details but retain full outlines of major elements. This makes the 1988 D nickel a great example for new collectors learning how to grade circulated U.S. coins. The edges of the coin are generally smooth and rounded from years of wear. You may see small bumps or dents, but none severe enough to impact the coin structure. Even though millions of these coins were made, each circulated example has its own character formed through decades of use in vending machines, grocery stores, and everyday transactions. The wear patterns help tell the story of the coin's journey through American commerce. Every scratch, every faded letter, and every smooth surface is part of its historical footprint. Collectors often appreciate coins like this because they represent real-world history. While the 1988 D nickel is not rare, it provides an authentic look into U.S. coinage from the late 20th century. Good condition coins like this are often included in date and mint collections where collectors aim to gather one example from each year. These coins make for excellent placeholders until a higher grade specimen is acquired. Despite its lower grade, the design by Felix Schlag remains iconic and recognizable. The Jefferson nickel series has been beloved for generations, and the 1988 D is no exception. This coin also serves as an educational piece for anyone studying mint marks, circulation wear, and old alloy compositions used before design updates in the early 2000s. Seeing a circulated coin like this allows collectors to appreciate how well U.S. nickels endure over time. Even after decades of use, most details remain visible, and the coin maintains its structural strength. By understanding the features and wear of the 1988 D Jefferson nickel, collectors and viewers can better appreciate the history, craftsmanship, and durability of U.S. 5-cent coins. This concludes the full look at the United States of America 1988 D Monticello 5 cents coin in good condition, a circulated piece with charm, character, and a story built over years of American history.